You might think that you have good reasons why you're not managing fully a specific employee or someone taking part in a project. You have these excuses or these thoughts or beliefs about how freelancers are to be treated differently than a full-time employee or a part-time employee or someone who's doing staff augmentation or DevOps people, etc. All of those are wrong. I'm here to tell you that you have to manage everyone properly, equally. And if not, you're doing them, the rest of the team, and yourself a disservice. If they're good enough to be part of the team, to work on the project, they're good enough to be worth managing properly. It's as simple as that. Let's talk about how you can manage them properly to ensure that you have a team worth leading. By the way, if you're new here, hi, I'm Aviv Ben-Yosef. I'm a tech executive coach and consultant, and I help people just like you create teams worth leading, because life's too short to lead a mediocre team. And many mediocre teams are those not managed properly, filled with people who are just being neglected and not getting the proper attention, and thus slowly declining, becoming burnt out, becoming resentful, or not growing as fast as they ought to. Don't do that. Now, the trap is very common. We have people on the team where we have our own beliefs or, past experiences that make us think that these people are different. Yes, the majority of the people on the team, they are the regular, the normal ones. They are getting my management attention. But those who are outliers or a bit different, they don't need the same attention, or I can't even give them that same sort of attention. Sometimes it's for excuses of time, sometimes it's because you tell yourself that's not how things are done there, or you want to give them autonomy, whatever you tell yourself. But the fact is, when we do that, we're actually creating two classes in the same team, and that's always wrong. The basis for this video is the concept of universal management. If they're part of the team, they deserve the same amount of attention. That's it. No caveats, no excuses, no nothing. If they're there, they're going to get the proper attention. That's how you create an amazing team. That's how you ensure that everyone in the team feels like they're part of an amazing team. And that's how you grow. Discrimination by employment type, experience, whatever, is still discrimination, and it never works well. A big impact that I see on teams is that when we have these, even if those people being discriminated don't register it, don't mind it, the rest of the people around them do pick up on the fact that we have these layers of worth in the team. And when that happens, people naturally, often unconsciously, start treating others differently. Or if they see that there are a lot of those people who are different, they start thinking that they're not in the right place, because no one likes being surrounded by people who are not really as good or are not receiving the same treatment. I've seen this countless of times in startups, in big corporations. We have, for myriad reasons, different ways of employment and different experiences, etc., which is fine. But when we use that as an excuse to not do the basic responsibility of managing people, if you're the manager, we're harming everyone. Let's quickly go over the different and most common carve-outs, and I'm pretty sure that at least one of those is going to apply to you. And if that's the case, I want you to rethink and realize that, hey, yeah, maybe I'm wrong. The most common example is of those who are not proper employees. If you have freelancers, staff augmentation happening, outsourced companies, whatever it is, often these people are not managed like the rest of the team. So I often work with companies where we have the proper engineers, the proper team, and those who are often working shoulder to shoulder with them, with no real difference when it comes to responsibility, the work they're getting, etc. But some are getting proper management, one-on-ones, coaching, etc., and others are not. Now, I know the excuses. Maybe they're experts at what they're doing. Maybe you're not paying them for investing in their coaching, whatever you're telling yourself. But at the end of the day, if they're part of the team and often they're a big and important part of the team, they ought to be getting the same treatment. It just makes no sense. I'm just thinking about so many managers I've worked with that had to deal with this cognitive dissonance where they had, half of the team being employees, half being not, and treating them differently and always having to remember, I'm going to have a one-on-one with Jane, but not with Alice. It just makes no sense, and it creates this divide, or makes the divide even bigger. It makes sense that you have some people who are not employees, but treating them so differently makes no sense. And even if those people at first tell you no, or I'm not used to that, you should tell them that this is to ensure that we all treat each other with the same professionality, and we all have the same bar when it comes to what we expect of ourselves, when it comes to growth, and when it comes to how we manage ourselves. It can be, shorter one-on-ones with some people, or not every week, but every 2, whatever. But it's something that has to happen. Just as in general, if you watch my other videos about coaching, I say that it's not as if we have one size fits all when it comes to coaching. It's not that we manage everyone the same. There's a dial here. Some people need more, some people need less, but everyone needs something. Next, we have those people who have a specific profession that sometimes is not anchored in one specific team. Like you have the DevOps people, the QA engineers, and I see these often be treated like some floating element in the company. We just pull them in whenever we need them, but because they're not working on one big project, because they don't belong to any specific team, often they're also not getting the proper attention about how they're improving, how they're growing, managing their time, deciding how to prioritize what they're doing, not just every day depending on what pops up, but actually trying to have a plan for them like we have with other people. And again, I understand that this might be, a limited resource. You do not have a QA person for every team. You don't have a DevOps person for every team, whatever. Fine. But still, they deserve proper management, they deserve guidance, they deserve feedback, retros, etc. to ensure that they're being treated properly, that they're growing, that they're doing better every single sprint. They should be managed in sprints as well if the rest of the team is working in sprints. Even if they're not, again, naturally part of any specific team, they should have that same cadence. They should take part in what the rest of the organization is doing. Otherwise, they become sort of outsiders, or even more outsiders, and that just makes no sense and just makes it more likely that you'll have worse communication going on, have them burn out, have them not understand what's happening so they're not as aligned, and all of that for what? To save you, 20 minutes every couple of weeks to have a proper one-on-one with them? Just, to me, that makes no sense. Then we have research. When you're working with analysts, research, etc., often we don't manage them in iterations because, this is not like development where we have estimates and we know what we're going to be doing every iteration. Of course, it's not the same, but having worked with huge research organizations, I've seen that time boxing helps them as well. And proper management, proper one-on-ones, giving them feedback, talking to them about their estimates actually helps most researchers work better. It's magical, as if being neglected doesn't work. So I highly recommend, even for your researchers, to come up with some sort of rhythm and proper management and planning. Yes, it might not be a week or 2 of iterations like you have with development. It can be every 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever. It can be elongated because research often takes more time. But still, you should be boxing it like that, because also by having that, we're constantly doing prioritization, we're constantly keeping ourselves aligned with what's important. We have these checkpoints to decide what we're doing and review it, and this helps also those doing research become better. Otherwise, they're just going from task to task. Even if you're doing Kanban, you still need to every X weeks take a second and review what's happening and retrospect what's been, the progress you've made, because otherwise People often are not growing enough. They're not looking at what they've done. They're not looking at the past. They're always looking at the next thing on their plates and never taking a second to become better. Again, universal management means that we have to give them that same amount of attention. And then we have, juniors and seniors. And I often hear like contrasting opinions from managers about why they're not giving one of those groups enough attention. It's like, no, juniors, they're learning so much, they don't need my attention. Or seniors, they know so much, they don't need my attention. Whatever you're telling yourself, both of those don't make sense. I've seen juniors starving for any sort of feedback, even if they're growing fast, even if you see them doing well, you have to tell them. You have to give them that feedback because they often are not able of realizing whether they're doing well or not by themselves, even if they're doing well. They need that extra attention. They need that extra information and approval from the outside world. And if they're not doing well, of course you have to be talking with them. You can't tell them, okay, they're juniors, naturally they're gonna suck. No, you need to invest in them and help them improve themselves. Crucial. And with seniors, yes, I know that maybe you get some pushback with some seniors who think that they're doing well enough, that they don't need those one-on-ones, they don't need the coaching, whatever it is. Again, we can elongate the cadence. So it's not every week with some of the seniors if you're getting this pushback. And still, when we don't have this attention to people, they stop growing, they naturally start drifting away, they get disconnected from the rest of the team, they get burned out, and they often feel, even if they told you, and I've seen this happen countless times, even when they were the ones to tell you that they don't need the one-on-ones, they don't need the attention, they often end up feeling like they're not being valued, they're not being seen, there's not enough attention or respect or whatever you want to call it being given to them. Why? Exactly because they're not being treated like the rest of the team. It's natural, that's how people work, and again, until LLMs replace us, we gotta learn how to manage it. And I will add that I'm seeing something even more crucial today with how AI is shaping people, especially seniors. Just because someone is senior and knows how to do the job well or new does not mean that they automatically do it as well now that we're all relearning how to operate in teams with AI, coding agents, etc. And therefore, virtually everyone in the company right now needs some coaching, needs some management to help them improve and ensure that they're learning as fast as they can because everything has changed. We're not doing anything the same like we used to do before. And this applies also to management, which we might cover in some future videos. And therefore, you have to give everyone that help. You have to have this baseline. It's a universal right in your organization. I'll say that with AI, I'm seeing that universal management is sort of like your early warning system. Without it, it's very easy to see people drifting away, not realizing what they're doing, or going to town on some specific way of doing things, not realizing that they're no longer focusing on what matters, or learning the wrong things, investing in honing a skill set that no one cares about, or being really worried about something without realizing that you don't care about it right now because people are like, oh my God, what am I going to do about how we test this, how we develop this, etc. when the team actually needs focus somewhere else. I see it all the time where we have people who are, because they're left to their silos, because they're not getting this feedback, are getting all in their heads, or they're talking with an LLM about the worries. That's usually not very helpful when it comes to ensuring that the team remains aligned. I think that teams right now, even if people can work much faster on their own because of whatever we're doing with AI, have a even greater need of communication, of being able to describe to others what we're seeing, get some feedback, get other humans in the loop, ensure that we're not doing things entirely by ourselves. Now, where every day we might be achieving 2-3 times what we were doing before, now where dailies make somewhat less sense because it's not like I'm working on this big thing for a day or two, but yeah, I'm getting 3 of those big things done today. I don't even know where it's sending because as we're doing the daily, the AI is working on it. People need some sort of communication, need some sort of honing mechanism to discuss what they're doing, discuss what they're seeing, to ensure that they remain aligned, learn, etc. This is crucial. And I'm seeing, sadly, managers, VPs telling me, yeah, I no longer need to manage people like we used to. And okay, while managing people does need to change right now, that does not mean people do not need management anymore. Just because they can work much faster doesn't mean that they are no longer human, that they no longer need to improve, get some feedback, talk to someone, and grow. That's a big, big mistake. Again, universal management applies to everyone, and you should ensure that everyone in the team gets enough attention, some growth attention, some coaching attention, and this applies also to you specifically. So if you're not growing, if you're not investing in yourself, first of all, you can check my video about the leadership blocks for getting the time to invest in yourself, and I'll put the link somewhere here on screen. Or if you want to really invest in yourself and see some dramatic growth, my email's in the video description. I'll be happy to chat. That's it for this video. If you have any questions or comments, let me know in the comments, or again in my email in the video description. I'm always happy to hear. If you found this useful, please like and subscribe. It really helps, even though it gives me the itches to ask for it. And I'll see you here in the next video. Ciao.